What's up, everybody? I'm going live right now, so I'm gonna grab this link. I'm gonna start sharing it. For those who are tuning in on the recording, I welcome you. I'm happy you're able to join in on this live reading. I hope it's something I can do more in the future because I found reading books together is easier to process the information. So we're live, baby. We're live, baby. I'm gonna post this to both channels, our Discord and our Signal. And I'm gonna start in a few minutes. I'm gonna give it a few minutes for everybody to join in. This call is always welcome to everybody because we all come from the same place. We're all from the same source. And I truly believe that it's through loving kindness and through understanding, understanding, and overstanding, seeing things from multiple perspectives that we're able to really unite and do great things for this world. There's a lot of amazing changes happening on many levels, and we want to be ready for change, and we want to also tune in to there's an overall all-pervasive energy in which is sourced our consciousness. Welcome, welcome.
What's up, dude?
What's up, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you mute? I think, Jacob, can you
hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yeah. That's weird. It's showing up.
Let me see.
Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear.
Wait a minute.
Let me just make sure it's not from my end. Okay. Hey, Cheney.
Hey,
I want to
how
see
are
if I can
you?
hear you. Maybe it's my end that I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Oh.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can fix this. Settings. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yep. I know what it is. What? What's up, bro? I think it's from my end. I
Can you
think
hear me
my speaker's not working because Cheney just tried to talk to me too, and I can't hear her.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
I'm gonna figure this out. I think it's because I had these headphones plugged in while I started Zoom. Let me see if I can hear you on this.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
I'll just keep them on
turn
because
on
I
the-
can't really figure out how to change the preference.
Yeah,
But
it's weird sometimes.
I'm excited to have you guys on.
Yeah,
Thanks
how
for
have you been,
tuning
dude?
in.
Like, it's been a while since I've hopped on a live.
Yeah, bro, it's been a little bit. I've been pretty good. I just came back from the beach
Nice.
and I just started my first funded account challenge.
FTMO?
Or
what?
my Forex funds.
You're doing my Forex? Okay.
Yeah. But I want to try both. I want to see the issue I had with my Forex funds is like the slippage on there.
What's it do?
I guess I was just trading at the wrong time, but yesterday I had gotten into a few trades and like my stop loss was like, I don't know, it was like a $10 risk or something like that. And suddenly the price really launched past the stop loss and it didn't get out to like $80.
Oh, geez.
So I
Oh,
had a
because it
little rough
happens so
start.
quick. Well,
It
that's
happened so
sometimes
quick.
yeah, like because I mainly do. I've been doing gold pretty much the whole time, and like it'll happen. And it's happening very often now. But like I'm even adjusting my take profits and stop losses on gold because I'll notice like it wants to follow the trend that like I've drawn out, but
Mm.
there's a big like they'll push the price down like an extra $2 to get to have everybody like hit their stop losses, and then it'll reverse right to where I thought it. So like I've been giving myself a bigger buffer. Like yesterday I hit a short and it was like I entered it, went to the gym, and then like as I was leaving, I was like, oh, I'll give it a little more room. And if I hadn't done that, I would have gotten like stopped out and then would have missed out on like, and then I came home and it was like, did what I wanted it to do. So it was like that's one.
Man, yeah, that was the lesson I had like on some of these assets. It's just like I gotta have a longer stop loss. Not so tight. Yeah, bro. Well, how about I just get into the reading and then we can do like if something stands out, we can like pause and like reflect on it together.
Cool. I'm trading, so I'll be here. I'm just gonna be muted. I'll
Oh,
let him
perfect.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, I can listen from the background and y'all want to trade or do anything else on the back, can do it. All right. So let's do chapter 4, consistency, a state of mind. I hope that after reading the first 3 chapters, you're getting an idea that just because we are acting in the capacity of a trader doesn't mean that we've learned the appropriate ways to think about what we do. As I have already stressed several times, what separates the best traders from everyone else is not what they do or when they do it, but rather how they think about what they do and how they're thinking when they do it. If your goal is to trade like a professional and be a consistent winner, then you must start from the premise that the solutions are in your mind and not in the market. Consistency is a state of mind that has at its core certain fundamental thinking strategies that are unique to trading. Experiencing a few or more winning trades can convince almost anyone that trading is easy. Recall your own experiences. Think back to those trades that brought a stream of money flowing into your account when all you had done was make a simple decision to buy or sell. Now, combine the extremely positive feeling you get from winning and getting money with no effort, and it's almost impossible not to conclude that making money as a trader is easy. But if that's the case, if trading is so easy, then why is it so difficult to master? Why are so many traders at their wits' end grappling with the obvious contradiction? If it is true that trading is easy, and traders know it is because they've had direct experience of how easy and effortless it is, then how can it be possible that they can't make what they've learned about the markets work for them over and over again? In other words, how do we account for the contradiction between what we believe about trading and our actual trading results over time? Think about trading, or thinking about trading is the next little section. The answers are all in the way you think about it. The irony is that trading can be as much fun and as effortless as your experience of it has been on occasion. But experiencing these qualities consistently is a function of your perspective, your beliefs, your attitudes, or your mindset. Choose the term you are most comfortable with. They all refer to the same thing. Winning and consistency are a state of mind in the same way that happiness, having fun, and satisfaction are states of mind. Your state of mind is a byproduct of your beliefs and attitudes. You can try to create consistency without having the appropriate beliefs and attitudes, but your results won't be any different than if you try to be happy when you're not having fun. When you're not having fun, it can be very difficult to change your perspective to one where you all of a sudden start enjoying yourself. Of course, the circumstances of your situation could be suddenly shifted in a way that cause you to experience joy. But then your state of mind would be the result of an external shift in conditions, not a result of an internal shift in your attitude. If you depend on the outside conditions and circumstances to make you happy, so that you're always enjoying yourself, then it is extremely unlikely that you will experience happiness on a consistent basis. However, you can greatly increase the possibility of your being happy by developing fun type attitudes, and more specifically, by working on neutralizing the beliefs and attitudes that prevent you from having fun or enjoying yourself. Creating consistent success as a trader works the same way. You can't rely on the market to make you consistently successful, any more than you can rely on the outside world to make you consistently happy. People who are truly happy don't have to do anything in order to be happy. They are happy people who do things. Traders are consistently successful, consistently successful, are consistent as a natural expression of who they are. They don't have to try to be consistent. They are consistent. This may seem like an abstract distinction, but it is vitally important that we understand the difference. Being consistent is not something we can try to be, because the very act of trying will negate our intent by mentally taking us out of the opportunity flow, making it less likely that we will win and more likely that we will lose. Your very best trades were easy and effortless. You didn't have to try to make them easy. They were easy. There was no struggle. You saw exactly what you needed to see, and you acted on what you saw. You were in the moment, a part of the opportunity flow. When you're in the flow, you don't have to try, because everything you know about the market is available to you. Nothing is being blocked or hidden from your awareness, and your actions seem effortless because there's no struggle or resistance. On the other hand, having to try indicates that there is some degree of resistance or struggle. Otherwise, you would just be doing it and not having to try to be doing it. It also indicates that you're trying to get what you want from the market. While it seems natural to think this way, it's a perspective fraught with difficulties. The best traders stay in the flow because they don't try to get anything from the market. They simply make themselves available so they can take advantage of whatever the market is offering at any given moment. There's a huge difference between the two perspectives. In chapter 3, I briefly illustrate how our minds are wired to avoid both physical and emotional pain. If you trade from the perspective of trying to get what you want or what you expect from the markets, what will happen when the markets doesn't behave in a way to fulfill your expectations? Your mental defense mechanisms kick in to compensate for the difference between what you want and what you're not getting, so that you don't experience any emotional pain. Our minds are designed to automatically block threatening information or find a way to obscure that information in order to shield us from the emotional discomfort we naturally feel when we don't get what we want. You won't realize it in the moment, but you will pick and choose information that is consistent with what you expect so that you can maintain a pain-free state of mind. However, in the process of trying to maintain a pain-free state of mind, you're also taking yourself out of the opportunity flow and enter the realm of the could have, the should have, the would have, and the if only. Everything that you could have, should have, would have recognized in the moment appeared invisible. Then all becomes painfully evident after the fact, after the opportunity is long gone. Man, I've been there. I've been there. To be consistent, you have to learn to think about trading in such a way that you're no longer susceptible to conscious or subconscious mental processes that cause you to obscure, block, or pick and choose information on the basis of what will make you happy, give you what you want, or avoid pain. The threat of pain generates fear, and fear is the source of 95% of the errors you are likely to make. Certainly, you can't be consistent or experience the flow if you're consistently making errors, and you will make errors as long as you're afraid that what you want or what you expect won't happen. I'm gonna read that sentence again. Hold on. Certainly, you can't be certainly you can't be consistent or experience the flow if you're consistently making errors. And you will make errors as long as you're afraid that what you want and what you expect won't happen. Furthermore, everything you attempt to do as a trader will be a struggle, and it will seem as if you are struggling against the markets or that the market is against you personally. But the reality is that it's all taking place inside your mind. The market doesn't perceive the information it makes available. You do. If there's a struggle, it is you who are struggling against your own internal resistance, conflicts, and fears. Now, you may be asking yourself, how can I think about trading in such a way that I'm no longer afraid and therefore no longer susceptible to the mental processes that cause me to block, obscure, or pick and choose information? The answer is, can you all guess the answer? What's the answer? Before I just give it.
What was it again?
It says, now you may be asking yourself, how can I think about trading in such a way that I'm no longer afraid and therefore no longer susceptible to the mental processes that cause me to block, obscure, or pick and choose information? So basically the question is like, how can we get to that place where we're not afraid to trade anymore and we just put on our trades and feel successful, I guess.
View it as, well, I listened to a part of this. I don't know.
Hmm.
So view it as the reflection of yourself and then get yourself in the right state so you know that it will reflect that state that you're in. Is it something like that?
I feel like that's a great answer though. I feel like that is correct. That is true. That's it's basically like our state of mind. Yeah. And here the answer that he placed was just a short solution to getting afraid of the fear of trading is to learn to accept the risk.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Just accept. It's why you never want to risk more than you're okay with losing, and yeah.
Most definitely, because like I've experienced that if my where I feel like the price might hit my stop loss, if it goes there and it causes me anxiety that it's gonna hit my stop loss, then I'm probably using too large of a size. So and I felt the difference of where I put on like a smaller trade that is like my perfect system, and I could just like go to sleep and wake up in the morning, and whether the trade hit the stop loss or take profit, like I'm just like I'm like, all right, cool. Um Quite interesting, yeah.
Yeah, just neutral and at peace with whatever the result is and just letting go.
Yeah. So that was the first little section of this chapter, and then the second section is going to transition to really understanding risk. And this is one of my favorite little sections. I love this part. I think this is one of the most important parts of trading consistently is really understanding the risk, like, and that's a great analogy for life, that in life that requires like a understanding of everything that can happen. To be a good driver, I like to think of trading almost like driving the car on the highway. To be a good driver, um the first thing we want to always do before going fast or before passing people is we want to make sure we're in a safe place where we're safe and the people around us are safe. uh and that requires us to be aware of what's around, and the possibilities of what can happen. Everyone should know when they're driving that driving is can be a dangerous thing, because it's a powerful vehicle and can go to extraordinary speeds. And so in one sense we have to accept the risk of driving before we can drive. And that's why we gotta practice with other people before we can just get on the road on our own, because the car is such a powerful thing that someone that wouldn't be aware of the possibilities could potentially hurt others. So that's why it also requires a sober mind to drive a vehicle, because we want to be aware of the good outcome, us getting to our how to get to the spot in the right place, and we also want to be aware of how to brake, how to switch lanes and all that stuff. And really trading, I've come to realize is quite the same thing. And sometimes, like, if the circumstances are just clear, there's no traffic, there's nothing else, I can just cruise a little faster in the car and I won't be as scared, I know that people, if they're trying to maneuver through traffic, it could be very scary. Sometimes for me, I just try to make peace with the currents of traffic. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight these currents. I'm just gonna make peace that right now it's not possible to go faster. I just gotta be peaceful with where I'm at. If anything, it's my own fault for leaving the house too late, right? It's not like the driver's fault around me. So you see many times drivers get real upset at people around them, but in reality, it's like everyone, the market's just giving us what they're giving us, and there's nothing we can really do about it. And yeah, that's a little reflection I have. So let's go into this next section, really understanding risk. Other than the many issues surrounding responsibility that we discuss in chapter 3, there isn't anything about trading that is more central to your success and also more misunderstood than the concept of accepting the risk. As mentioned in the first chapter, most traders erroneously assume that because they are engaged in the inherently risky activity of putting on and taking off trades, they are also accepting the risk. I'll repeat that this assumption couldn't be further from the truth. Accepting the risk means accepting the consequences of your trades without emotional discomfort or fear. This means that you must learn to think about trading and your relationship with the market in such a way that the possibility of being wrong, losing, or missing out, or leaving money on the table that doesn't cause your mental defense mechanisms to kick in and take you out of the opportunity flow. It doesn't do you any good to take the risk of putting on a trade if you're afraid of the consequences, because your fears will act on your perception of information and your behavior in a way that will cause you to create the very experiences you fear the most, the one you are trying to avoid. I am offering you a specific thinking strategy composed of a set of beliefs that will keep you focused, in the moment, and in the flow. With this perspective, you will not be trying to get anything from the market or to avoid anything. Rather, you will let the market unfold and you will make yourself available to take advantage of whatever situations you define as opportunities. When you make yourself available to take advantage of an opportunity, you don't impose any limitations or expectations on the market's behavior. You are perfectly satisfied to let the market do whatever it's going to do. However, in the process of doing something, the market will create certain conditions you will define and perceive as opportunities. You act on those opportunities to the best of your ability, but your state of mind is not dependent upon or affected by the market's behavior. If you can learn to create a state of mind that is not affected by the market's behavior, the struggle will cease to exist. When the internal struggle ends, everything becomes easy. At that point, you can take full advantage of all your skills, analytical or otherwise, to eventually realize your potential as a trader. Here's the challenge. How do you accept the risks of trading without emotional discomfort and fear? When at the moment you perceive the risk, you simultaneously feel discomfort and fear. In other words, how do you remain confident and pain-free when you are absolutely certain you can be proved wrong, lose money, miss out, or leave money on the table? As you can see, your fears and feeling of discomfort are completely justified and rational. Each of those possibilities becomes real the moment you contemplate interacting with the market. However, as true as all these possibilities are for every trader, what isn't true or the same for every trader is what it means to be wrong, lose out, miss out, or leave money on the table. Before I continue, I'm gonna get some water because my throat's feeling kind of dry. All right, all right. I don't know if y'all ever tried Kangen water before, but it's so good. Right. All right. Here's the challenge. How do you accept the risk of trading without emotional discomfort and fear? So that's just a little refresher of what we're reading. Man, this is the important stuff, is that risk management. It's so interesting to have losing streaks. I've had an experience that when I'm having losing streaks, but I'm following my risk management rules, I'll look at it and I can be like, I could be a few trades in, like it could be like maybe I'm scalping and I'm just not in the flow. And as long as I like have the proper lot size and the proper stop loss and everything, I've come to a point where I'm like I've been losing like 3, 4, 5 trades in a row, 6 trades in a row. And then I just have one of those trades succeed and it pushes me back into break even. And that's what's really good about that consistency, is that the strength is in not really necessarily being perfect about our analysis and where it's going, but if we really stick to the probability of it, then in the calculated sense of it, with in the proper equations, we're gonna be successful in the long run. And I think that as traders, we all have those days where we're like in the zone and it's just so it makes everything so clear. Like the market's just like, this is exactly what I'm doing. And we find a place for a retest, and we hop in and we move with the current of the market. And in other days, it can be really challenging to read what's going on. And sometimes like I'll notice like my analytical skills, like everything will be clear. Like I'm like, I exactly know what the Bollinger Bands are doing. I know what price action is doing. I know what support line or resistance line were nearby. I know what's going on in the market is clear. And then some days I can come up to the market and I'm just like, I don't, I'm not in the mind space where where anything even makes sense to me anymore. It's just like everything looks so confusing, you know. I've been in both areas. And being on this funded account that I'm on, it's definitely pushed me to really be super strict with my risk management, like knowing exactly where my my lot size is. I've been calculating the trades, and I've experienced like I was having a little bit of a tough time. I started trading on Monday, and there was all this news happening that I wasn't aware of, and a lot of volatility. And it's just so interesting that because I was staying consistent with it, and I've experienced those moments of loose streaks before, it wasn't as devastating this time, because like I even caught myself wanting to like bump up my lot size and being like, I want to get back at this move and get my money back. But I just stayed with it. I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it real with this and stay consistent. And over time I was able to like, all right, every time like I thought I was back, I was at least able to recover and get back to the neutral place. And so far right now I've been in some good trades. It's looking a little more positive, and the market's lining itself in a way that and my mind space is lining up in a way that I'm able to understand it more. So it's super interesting how that works. The psychology of the market is just um such a good teacher, just to be observant how I'm feeling and how that's affecting my perception of the market. And yeah, I'll tell you, like there's a lot of anxiety that can come when I'm not accepting the risk, you know. If I'm ever bumping it up, I can tell you like trading, it becomes a whole nother thing. It's almost like I get glued to the charts, trying to like get it to go somewhere and all this type of stuff, you know. So I just share that little personal experience just as a reminder. It's like this is something that I think a lot of traders can go through. Okay. All right. So the question here, we're gonna find the answer. Not everyone shares the same beliefs and attitudes about these probabilities, and therefore we don't share the same emotional sensitivities. In other words, not everyone is afraid of the same things. This may seem obvious, but I assure you it is not. When we're afraid, the emotional discomfort we feel in the moment is so real that it's beyond question. And it's natural to assume that everyone shares our reality. I will give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I recently worked with a trader who was deathly afraid of snakes. As far as he was concerned, he had always been afraid of snakes because he couldn't recall a time when he wasn't. Now he is married and has a 3-year-old daughter. One evening, while his wife was out of town, his daughter and he were invited to a friend's house for dinner. Unbeknownst to my client, his friend's child had a pet snake. When the friend's child brought out the snake for everyone to see, my client freaked and practically leaped to the other side of the room to get as far away from the snake as possible. His daughter, on the other hand, was completely enthralled with the snake and wouldn't leave it alone. When he related the story to me, he said that he was not only shocked by the unexpected confrontation with a snake, but that he was just as shocked by his daughter's reaction. She wasn't afraid, and he assumed that she would be. I explained to him that his fear was so intense and his attachment to his daughter was so great that it was inconceivable to him that his daughter would not automatically share his reality about snakes. But then I pointed out there really wasn't any way she could have shared his experience unless he specifically taught her to be afraid of snakes, or she had her own painful, frightening experience. Otherwise, without anything to the contrary in her mental system, the most likely reaction to her first encounter with a living snake would be pure, unadulterated fascination. Just as my client assumed that his daughter would be afraid of snakes, most traders assume the best traders, like themselves, are also afraid of being wrong, losing, missing out, and leaving money on the table. They assume that the best traders somehow neutralize their fears with an inordinate amount of courage, nerves of steel, and self-control. Like many other things about trading, what seems to make sense just isn't the case. Certainly, any one or all of these characteristics may be present in any top trader. But what is not true is that these characteristics play any role in their superior performance. Needing courage, nerves of steel, or self-control would imply an internal conflict where one force is being used to counteract the effects of another. Any degree of struggle, trying, or fear associated with trading will take you out of the moment and flow, and therefore diminish your results. That is where professional traders really separate themselves from the crowd. When you accept the risk the way pros do, you won't perceive anything that the market can do as threatening. If nothing is threatening, there's nothing to fear. If you're not afraid, you don't need courage. If you're not stressed, why would you need nerves of steel? And if you're not afraid of your potential to get reckless because you have the appropriate monitoring mechanisms in place, then you have no need for self-control. As you contemplate the implications of what I'm saying, I want you to keep something in mind. Very few people who go into trading start out with the appropriate beliefs and attitudes about responsibility and risk. There are some who do, but it's rare. Everyone else goes through the same cycle I described in the example of the novice trader. We start out carefree, then become scared, and our fears continually diminish our potential. The traders who break through the cycle and ultimately make it are the ones who eventually learn to stop avoiding and start embracing the responsibility and the risk. Most of those who successfully break the cycle don't make the shift in thinking until they have experienced so much pain from large losses that it has the positive effect of stripping away their illusions about the nature of trading. With respect to your development, the how of their transformation is not that important because in most cases it happened inadvertently. In other words, they weren't completely aware of the shifts that were taking place inside their mental environment until they experienced the positive effects their new perspective had on the way in which they interacted with the market. This is why very few top traders can really explain what accounts for their success, except to speak in axioms like cut your losses and go with the flow. What is important is that you understand it is completely possible to think the way the professionals do and to trade without fear, even though your direct experience as a trader would argue otherwise. Any thoughts here before I go on? This is a couple more pages for the end of the chapter, and then we'll end it as a short reading. All right. We'll go on to the next section. Aligning your mental environment. Now we are going to start zeroing in on exactly how you can align your mental environment in order to accept the risk and function like a professional trader. Most of what I have discussed up to this point was designed to get you ready to do the real work I'm going to teach you. A thinking strategy that has at its core a firm belief in probabilities and edges. With this new thinking strategy, you'll learn how to create a new relationship with the market. One that disassociates your trading from what is typically meant to be wrong or to lose. And that precludes you from perceiving anything about the market as threatening. When the threat of pain is gone, the fear will correspondingly disappear, as will the fear-based errors you are susceptible to. You will be left with a mind that is free to see what is available and to act on what you see. Getting to this carefree, fearless state of mind, in spite of being burned over and over again, will take some work. But it's not going to be so difficult as you think it may be. In fact, by the time you're finished reading this book, most of you will be amazed at how simple the solutions to your problems really are. In many respects, a state of mind or perspective is like software code. You could have several thousand lines of perfectly written code with only one flawed line. And in that one flawed line, there might be only one character out of place. Depending on the purpose of the software and where that flaw is in relation to everything else, that one misplaced character could ruin the performance of any otherwise perfectly written system. You see, the solution was simple. Fix the misplaced character and everything runs smoothly. However, finding the error or even knowing it exists in the first place can take considerable expertise. When it comes to the ideal trading mentality, everybody is a certain psychological distance away. In other words, virtually everyone starts out with flawed software code. I use terms like clicks or degrees to indicate psychological distances, but these terms don't imply a specific distance. So for example, many of you will find that you are only, let's say, one click away in perspective from the ideal mindset. That one click could represent one or two erroneous or misplaced assumptions you have about the nature of trading. As you reflect upon some of the ideas presented in this book, your perspectives may shift. To use the analogy of software code, that shift would be equivalent to finding the flawed line in your mental system and replacing it with something that works perfectly. People normally describe this kind of internal mental shift as an aha experience, or the moment when the lights go on. Everyone has had these kinds of experiences, everyone. And there are some common qualities associated with them. First, we usually feel different. The world even seems different, as if it had suddenly changed. Typically, we might say at the moment of the breakthrough, something like, why didn't you tell me this before? I've said that a few times to myself, to the universe. I'd be like, how did I know about this before? Or it was right in front of me the whole time, but I just didn't see it. Or it's so simple. Why couldn't I see it? Yeah. Another interesting phenomenon is the aha experience. Is that sometimes within a moment, although the amount of time can vary, we feel as if this new part of our identity has always been part of who we are. It then becomes difficult to believe that we were ever the way we were before we had the experience. In short, you may already have some awareness of much of what you need to know to be a consistently successful trader. But being aware of something doesn't automatically make it a functional part of who you are. Awareness is not necessarily a belief. You can't assume that you're learning about something new and agree with it is the same as believing it at a level where you can act on it. I don't think I read that right. Hold on. You can't assume that learning about something new and agreeing with it is the same as believing it at a level where you can act on it. Yeah, there we go. Take the example of my client who's afraid of snakes. He is certainly aware that not all snakes are dangerous, and that learning how to make a distinction between the ones that are dangerous and the ones that aren't would not be difficult. Will learning how to make these distinctions suddenly cause him to be afraid of non-dangerous snakes? To not be afraid of those snakes? Can we assume that his awareness will drop down to a level in his mental environment where he can now interact with snakes without fear or immobility? No, we cannot make this assumption. His awareness that some snakes are dangerous and his fear of snakes can only exist side by side in his mental environment as a contradiction to each other. You could confront him with a snake and he might readily acknowledge that he knows the snake is not dangerous and wouldn't hurt him. But at the same time, he would still find it extremely difficult to touch the snake, even if he wanted to. Does this mean that he is doomed to be afraid of snakes for the rest of his life? If he wants to be, he can. It's really a matter of willingness. It's certainly possible to neutralize his fear, but he will have to work at it. And working at anything requires sufficient motivation. So just like one more page and a half here. Not one more page, yeah. Gotta work at it, gotta work at it. Where we at? Where we at? Here we go. It's certainly possible to neutralize his fear, but we have to work at it. And working at anything requires sufficient motivation. Many of us have what we know to be irrational fears and simply choose to live with the contradiction because we don't want to go through the emotional work that is necessary to overcome the fear. In this example, the contradiction is obvious. However, in my many years of working with traders, I have uncovered several typical contradictions and conflicts surrounding the issues of risk and responsibility, where holding two or more conflicting beliefs can easily cancel out your positive intentions, no matter how motivated you are to be successful. The problem is that none of these contradictions are really obvious, at least not at first glance. Contradictory beliefs, however, aren't the only problem. What about assertions like "I'm a risk taker" that traders typically assume have dropped down to the functional level of a belief, when in fact, the underlying dynamics of the way they perceive the market indicates they are doing everything possible to avoid risk. Contradictory beliefs and non-functional awareness represent flawed mental software code. Code that destroys your ability to stay focused and accomplish your goals. Code that makes it seem as if you simultaneously have one foot on the accelerator and the other one on the brake. Code that gives learning how to trade a mysterious quality that will be challenging in a fun way at first, but usually turns into pure, unadulterated exasperation. When I was in college in late 1960s, one of my favorite movies was Cool Hand Luke, starring Paul Newman. Okay, guys, this book is actually just an advertisement for this movie. I tricked you. No, I'm kidding. It was a very popular movie back then, so I'm sure some of you have seen it on late night TV. Luke was in a Georgia chain gang. After he escaped and was caught for the second time, the warden and guards were determined not to let Luke make fools of them a third time. So while forcing him to do an inordinate amount of work and no rest, giving him intermediate beatings, they kept asking him, "Have you gotten your mind right yet, Luke?" Eventually, after considerable suffering, Luke finally told the prison bosses that he had his mind right. They said that if he didn't and tried to escape again, they'd kill him for sure. Of course, Luke attempted another escape, and true to their word, the guards killed him. Like Luke, many traders, whether they realize it or not, are trying to have it their way by beating the market. As a result, they get financially and emotionally killed. There are easier, infinitely more satisfying ways of getting what you want from the market. But first, you have to be willing to get your mind right. And that's Trading the Zone, Chapter 4. Consistency is a state of mind. What'd you think? What'd you think?
So it's actually funny. I totally spaced out like as at the beginning, and then I came back at the end. And I didn't want to interrupt you, but like I heard you, and I was like, "Oh, this is totally Trading in the Zone, huh?" I love this book.
So cool, yeah.
But no, yeah,
Super cool.
That's a great book. But yeah, it's really all just much. I liked the last part. I don't think I remember that when I like listened to it the first time. It's talking about Luke. But
I've never seen that movie. I wonder if it's good. It seems to be his favorite movie.
you know,
Oh man, I'm so happy I put my I put my stop loss into profit right before we were on this call, because I'm like, I'm not gonna look at the charts. I'm just gonna let, and yeah, I'm happy I did put my stop loss into profit because the price just like reversed a lot.
what do you what did you place it on?
On let's see. I might look for a re-entry. But let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, because that's the nice thing. Once you go into profit and you move your stop loss, like in profit, you know, it's going to come retest, and then it potentially does give you another chance for re-entry. You just have to find it, but you could potentially get a better price.
So I was in this. I had posted this trade earlier in the group, but there was something that made me get out of it, and then I re-entered, but I didn't want to really post it about it. I just want to see if this trade goes. I had been noticing on the 1 hour these like wicks here. So I was feeling like it could go back down and retouch the moving average. The moving average was a little bit different back then. Or not that back then. What is it? What was some moving? I think I was doing on the 4 hour. I was thinking that it would come. Where my B bands go? The high? Oh, there you are. Yeah, there you go. This median average, I was thinking like it would come back maybe to this level. But there's a lot of buying pressure on it, and we are in an uptrend after all. So I'm seeing a bounce here on this median average. So right now, I don't know. I think maybe a continuation now that I look at it. And the weekly is still very like, it looks kind of bullish. But actually, I just realized we're at this level here, so I might just want to watch it on the weekly now and see if we could break this level. If we break this level, we might find a big move upwards.
Which I'd like to see. So I'm kind of in a short on gold. So I think I want gold to keep going down. So like DXY is closed right now, but if that keeps going up at least, then gold will continue going down just because it's based off of the strength. But
it seems like we have like 2 more days. 2 more days for the daily, for the weekly close, and daily is still looking very bullish. Like you have a breakout of the B bands here. So I don't know, could be a little bit of retest down. We are at this level, right? Like that level has to be broken if anything, if it's going to continue. Yup. Let me pull up gold, or I want to see what's going on. I always put gold first. So
market just reopened right as you started reading, so this is all just based off the last hour. But
you're in a short? Oh yeah, it does. It still looks pretty bearish, right?
Yeah, so I think it's gonna go retest 125. So I have take profit at 131, 128, 125.
Am I looking?
It's gonna.
Are you saying at the point, at the decibel level 121?
Oh no, I'm sorry, 18.
18.
1831. And I think it's gonna, like, if it continues down, I think it's gonna retest 1825. I have a
So
I
you're
lied. 1828. 1828 is where its next stop will be if it continues down. It'll have to break through this 1832. And I think once it breaks through that, like, look, okay, 30-minute just closed. So we got a new hour. That hour overtook the previous, right at the Bollinger Band on the hour. 30-minute, there was I watched the market right as it opened. There was kind of a big jump right at the beginning of this hour, but it definitely cooled it off. Like if you were to go to the 5-minute, you would see it definitely.
Right here,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that
it
was out
looks
of the
like
blue. That was the first move. That was the first minute. As soon as it clock changed to 5. Well, it was like 4:55 is when that shot up.
look, the B bands are opening up here. It looks like it might start
Yeah.
pouring
So that's
down.
on the 5-minute.
Yeah, in the
Go to
5-minute
the hour because the hour just closed. That
hour,
overtook the
it's a
previous
bounce
movement, and then it's a bounce off the Bollinger
off
right
the
there.
Bollinger.
So, and then
Oh,
look,
this
that
looks
bottom
this
Bollinger
looks nice
Band.
for a short.
Yeah, that bottom Bollinger Band, right? Is
Mhm.
what's that price at right now? 18. Okay, 1830. Yeah.
Squeezing.
Yeah. So I just had a line. Yeah, it's
Do you
definitely
think
sweet.
after the squeeze is done, you think it's gonna move up, or you think it's gonna,
Um,
or you think it could go down to like
I am. It's currently in a downtrend. So I'd like to see a reversal, but it'd have to overtake a big. So it'd have to come back up to like 1844 range, 1845. But that's where I thought it was gonna reverse already. So if you go back, if you go present day,
yeah.
if you go to the yeah. Yeah, so it would have to overtake like that 1845, 1850 range. But
Hmm.
this is where here. Can I?
You want to share screen?
Yeah, let me please.
I'm gonna stop this recording to keep it separate, and I'm gonna restart it.